Hello, and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I am the founder. I want to thank all of you for tuning in once again to our teaching for today. If this is your first time tuning in, please let us know what city, what state, what country you're listening in from. Also, if you haven't done so, we ask everybody to please hit the like button, and then also, could you please also hit the subscribe button? We want to thank all of you for your consistency, for meeting us here every week, same time, same place. And we are extremely grateful for your feedback. We got all your emails. We've been, definitely just connecting with everybody on how these teachings are affecting them and actually helping them to uh, resolve issues, to expand levels of consciousness, and to upgrade their life to a better level. And so this is what we do. This is what we're here for. And we just want to say thank you to all of you who are consistent and also those of you that support us. Um, I want to thank you also. And then also I want to thank everybody who helped us out for the month of October for the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. They were definitely very, very happy to receive our donations and our support. And, we're just excited about everything that's going on with them. And like I said, they will be keeping us up to par on different things, opportunities, and just any kind of new developments or anything that we should know. We'll definitely keep you posted about that. Once again, I want to, let all the women know, if you haven't done so, please go get a mammogram, get yourself checked up, make sure you're good. Prevention is always better than the cure. And so we want to make sure we put that out. I want to talk today. I've been dealing with spirit about this 2026, and I kind of feel like 2026 is going to be this kind of a year. And I've been really, really pressing and really focused on this 2026. And I believe that it's going to be a very significant year. But before we get into that, I just want to briefly talk about today, Sunday, November the 9th. We are starting the cycle of Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde today, and it will go retrograde until November 29th. What I would say is this. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to reflect on things that maybe need to be readjusted, that maybe need to be fixed. It's a time to go back and readjust or re-amplify or re-coordinate some things that are important to us in our lives. During this time, we would tell you to be very careful traveling. I know it's going to be the holiday seasons. Be very careful traveling. Also, I would say this may be This may be a time where you may get a lot of people from your past to show up, being that it's a holiday time. People that you haven't seen in years. Situations or circumstances that maybe you thought were already resolved. Issues may resolve itself, but it may come back up again. But during this time, I'm just saying, it's a time to reflect. It's a time to, just go in and kind of look at your life and look at the things that happened this year, and kind of reflect and readdress some things that's going on within you and within this year, and kind of look and kind of go back and say, okay, these are some things that I probably could have done better. These are some things that I probably could have done at all that I haven't done, and just kind of reevaluate, reassemble yourself. And during this time, and of course, you'll be with family and friends and loved ones during the holiday. But this is a time to reflect. This is a time to definitely reassemble, to readjust. And so just take that moment to do so. And so we put that out there to you. This is not a time to be afraid. This is not a time to, everything is falling apart. No, you're still going to do everything you normally would do for the holidays. You just want to take a personal look at yourself and look at what's going on with you personally. So we're excited about the future. We're excited about the things that are coming, better than what's been. I've always said the future is so much better than what's happening in the past. As we get ready to move into our teaching for today, I would like for you guys to get into a quiet position. When you get into that quiet position, I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to inhale and exhale. Once again, inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Infinite presence, eternal mind, divine architect of all form. I recognize you now as the substance from which all worlds are molded. You are the invisible bank of creation, the source of every idea, every dream, every deposit of possibility. I speak this word knowing that there is only one mind. That mind is mine now. It thinks through me, imagines through me, creates through me. There is no separation between creator and creation, between spirit and substance, between dreamer and the dream. I declare that this teaching today awakens every listener to the truth that their own imagination is the vault of unlimited supply. We stand in the center of divine wealth, not as beggars, but as bankers of spirit. Every thought we think is a check drawn on the infinite supply. Every feeling we feel is the signature that authorizes its manifestation. We release all belief in lack, all fear of delay, all doubt in our own worthiness. We accept now the truth that imagination is the divine engine of supply and the portal through which heaven makes its withdrawals into earth. As we journey together through this teaching, I speak clarity for the mind, illumination for the soul, and revelation for the heart. Let every word plant a seed of wisdom. Let every insight open a vault of understanding. And so it is, and so it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing our 2026 lectures for the rest of the year. Today we're talking about your imagination is the bank, and you withdraw from within. Your imagination is the bank, and you withdraw from within. I want to take a look at that and get into that today. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and hit the like button. There was a man named Jordan, a visionary, who once believed that his best days were behind him. He had dreams once, bright, colorful dreams that painted whole worlds in his mind. But the weight of bills, responsibility, and disappointment slowly erased the color from his inner screen. Every morning he would wake up and say, I've got to find a way to make money. Every night he would go to bed asking, why doesn't money find me? One day Jordan met an old teacher in the park, a quiet man with eyes that look like they have seen eternity. The teacher asked, son, where do you keep your wealth? Jordan laughed. He said, nowhere. That's the problem. The teacher smiled and said, that's the illusion. You keep it in your mind and you've forgotten to check your balance. He handed Jordan a mirror and said, every image you see in your mind is a withdrawal waiting to happen. Stop looking for the bank on Main Street. It's right between your forehead. That night, Jordan sat in silence and began to imagine again. He saw himself building his business, helping people, traveling, living freely. At first, it felt foolish, like child's play. But then something shifted. He felt a warmth in his chest, a power he had not felt in years. Within weeks, new ideas flowed, opportunities appeared, doors opened. He realized the old man was right. He had been trying to deposit in the bank that didn't exist, while the real fortune was locked in the vault of his own mind. Jordan learned that the imagination doesn't create money. It creates ideas that attracts money. It doesn't produce things, it produces images that commands things to form. That night he made a vow. I would never again undervalue the currency of my imagination. And from that moment, his life became a testament to a simple truth. Whatever you see, whatever you can see inside, you can hold outside. Whatever you can see inside, you can hold outside. You know, I love this story about Jordan because it's a fascinating story. You know, when we realize the significance of this story and the power that each one of us has within us, the power that we have in our imagination, and how we're able to create, it's amazing. I want to look at the hidden bank within. That's what I want to look at real quickly. I want to talk about the revelation of Jordan's awakening, because this story is our story. Every one of us is born with a vault inside of us, a place where spirit stores unlimited potential. That vault is called imagination. When scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, it's not speaking of random thoughts, it's speaking of image thoughts, mental pictures charged with belief. Imagination is the heart of the mind. It is the spiritual womb where divine ideas are created. Now, let me say this. When you are working with the imagination moves with pictures. So when you are in a creation mode and you want to create something or you want to manifest something and you want to use your imagination, that's why we teach that you get in the theater of your mind. And it's like you're sitting in the movie theater and the screen is your imagination. And what you see on that screen is what will be made manifest. So if you see yourself driving a car, if you see yourself taking the new keys to walk into a new house, if you see yourself celebrating because you got the promotion on the job, or you see that there's something going on with your bank account and all of a sudden the funds are now available in your bank account, or whatever. So these are the things that happen when we learn how to use the theater of our mind. But the mind moves in pictures and symbols. So it doesn't move on words. So this is what I want you to understand. If you're going to manifest something, it's not about closing your eyes and just calling out affirmations and no. In order to do that, your mind moves by pictures. It moves by symbols. So when you start to visualize, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Visualization is the key. When you start to visualize these things with the pictures and the images of the things that you are manifesting, of the things that you're bringing into fruition, your mind takes those things as being real. Everything you have ever called real was once an imagination held so strongly that matter had no choice but to mirror it. Your car, your home, your career, all once a thought somebody refused to abandon. The outer world is nothing but a printout of your inner film. Change the film and the picture changes. So some of you right now are saying, I'm not making the amount of money that I want to make. I'm not living the way that I want to live. And it's a direct indication of what you're focused on. Because if you see yourself in your theater of your mind, in your imagination, making six figures, if you see yourself living in better living accommodations and living better and definitely going to the next level, then if you see yourself in the imagination world, in the theater of your mind, and you continue to work with that, it's not a one-time thing, it's a constant thing. Remember, you hold the image, you work with the image until it's almost like second nature. But what happens is the longer you work with that image, the longer you work with it, the subconscious mind takes it and believes that it's true. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, the events outside of you in the real world will start to happen to make that particular image come to fruition. It will make it a reality. Why? Because what's going on the inside will always match what goes on the outside. What goes on the inside will always match what goes on the outside. So if anybody's listening to me right now and you're saying, you know what, my life is jacked up, it's not the way that I wanted it to be, my life is not where I want it to be, I'm unhappy, things are not going my way, and you are upset, I just want you to know that in order to change that, it's a direct indication that things inside of you are not correct. There's some things inside of you that need to be readjusted, to be reevaluated, to be restored and redeemed. And so if that's in fact true, then we got to go inside and make some changes. That's why I say this to a lot of you. Your imagination is not a play, it's a production. Let me tell you something. God never stops creating. He just outsourced it to your mind. You are the co-creator, continuing the genesis process every time you visualize the new reality. What keeps most people poor in spirit and in wallet is mental bankruptcy. They keep withdrawing worry, fear, and doubt, and wondering why life keeps sending insufficient fund notices. Your emotions are your bank statements. If you feel rich in peace, you are liquid in spirit. If you feel poor in joy, you've been spending on negativity. So we have to take advantage of how we're operating in our imagination. As we read the story about Jordan, when I say that the imagination is the bank, the imagination, listen, creates ideas. And ladies and gentlemen, ideas create money. Many of you may have not been with me that long, but if you go back and listen to the archives, we did a teaching on the millionaires of the Bible. And in that series, which is one of my favorite, it's called Nazareth, the Millionaire of Nazareth. And it was talking about Jesus. But what happens is Jesus told the disciples to go fishing. And when the first fish that comes up, grab the money and go ahead and pay the bills, pay the taxes, right? Now, and metaphysically, a fish is an idea. Fishes are ideas. Metaphysically, when you see the word fish, it's a direct metaphysical meaning of ideas. When you need money, you go fishing. And what happens is the fish are the ideas that pop up, and you grab the ideas. Why? Because money chases great ideas. So when we talk about somebody sitting here saying, "Oh, I want to make 6 figures a year," or "I want to, a new house, new car," and we have to be realistic, ladies and gentlemen. You're working a 9 to 5. You're getting X amount of dollars. You know that you really don't love the job that you're at. They're paying you just enough not to quit, and and they give you just enough for you to cover your bills and do whatever you need to do. But you don't want to be at this job. You don't like the job, but you got responsibilities. Now realistically that there's no way at that job you're going to make 6 figures, even if you're doing overtime. So what happens now is if you're saying to yourself, I believe that I can go within into this imagination that Issachar is talking about, this imagination bank that he's talking about, and I can make a withdrawal from within, meaning that I can now come up and I can see myself. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can see myself with a 6-figure salary. I can see myself living in a better living quarters and living arrangements, driving a better car. I can see that in the imagination. Now, what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is when you constantly work on that and constantly continue to work that, what happens is what's going on in your imagination is a mirror, and the reflection has to be the same thing on the outside. So while you're focusing in withdrawal inside, while you're withdrawing inside by focusing on that, what happens is there's certain events that will happen outside that will align with what's going on the inside. And believe it, ladies and gentlemen, that's the secret right there. That's the secret. Every day you are writing spiritual checks with your words. The question is, what account are you drawing from? Lack or limitless? When I say withdraw within, I mean close your eyes and see it done. Picture it so clearly that the universe feels obligated to deliver the receipt. The universe is lawful. It responds to vibration, not vocabulary. You can say I'm rich all day, but if your imagination is still showing you bills and burdens, the bank honors that picture, not your words. So what do we do what do we do? What we do, ladies and gentlemen, is we start depositing new images. And so where we are now, this is why I'm bringing this out now as we get ready to go into 2026. What do? We start depositing new images. We fill the vault with visions of freedom, health, overflow. We treat the imagination like currency. We spend it wisely. We invest in it daily and watch it yield divine dividends. Ladies and gentlemen, every day you're working with your imagination. You're seeing yourself being, doing, and having all of your heart's desires. The great Reverend Knight told us this. You can be, do, and have all that your heart desires. Every day we are focusing, seeing ourselves being, doing, and having it. We're not just speaking the words, but we are connecting the pictures. We're physically seeing ourselves. And listen, when you see yourselves being and doing and having whatever it is that you want to manifest, It's not something that you are hoping that happens. This has happened already. It's like you're watching a movie. That's why I give us the scenario of the theater of our mind. We're sitting in the theater and we're watching our lives. We are exactly the producer, the actor, the director, the writer of our own life, of our own movie. And so when you allow yourself to deposit new images into your subconscious mind, what you're doing is you are allowing yourself to change the trajectory of your life. Imagination is not a toy. It is the temple where God banks your destiny. Every universe has its own economy. The spiritual economy trades in pictures, not paper, in conviction, not coins. When I say your imagination is the bank, I mean every thought you hold with feeling becomes legal tender in the invisible world. Thought is the check, feeling is the signature, and faith is the authorization code. Let me say that again. Your thoughts is the check, your feelings is the signature, and your faith is the authorization code. When you think a thing and feel it as it's already true, it's already done, you stamp it approved. Heaven does not look for collateral, it looks for conviction, ladies and gentlemen. However long it takes you to convince yourself that this thing is already done, it's however long it will begin to manifest on the outside world. Because remember, we're walking mirrors. What happens on the inside must be automatically reproduced and replicated on the outside. Most people live on spiritual credit they never intend to repay. They say, I want abundance, but they spend all day visualizing bills. They dream of success, but constantly picture failure. The vault cannot process contradictory transactions. You cannot deposit faith and withdraw fear in the same breath. To build divine credit, begin a daily practice I call the 3-minute mind deposit. Those of you that are listening, if you want to write this in the chat, it's called the 3-minute mind deposit. And what happens is you close your eyes and you begin to get in a quiet place and you picture what you desire as though it was already done. You feel the gratitude so deep it vibrates in your bones, You release the image with a simple decree, it is so. It's called the 3-minute mind deposit. Do this morning and night and watch the unseen account grow. Your balance is determined by focus, your interest rate by emotion. How much emotion, how much feeling are you putting into this? Remember the law. The mind always pays interest on attention. You never get out of life what you want, ladies and gentlemen. You only get out of life what you pay attention to. Remember, the mind always pays interest on attention. Whatever you constantly focus on increases in value. If you dwell on problems, they appreciate. If you dwell on possibility, it multiplies. That's why when I ask people all the time, tell me what do you want out of life? A lot of people can never tell me what they want out of life. They can tell me what they don't want. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be, they can tell me all of that. What happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that a lot of us keep focusing on the things that we don't want. And that's why they keep showing up in our reality. The greatest investment you'll ever make is one you make in your own imagination. It never crashes. It never devalues. And it is ensured by the infinite itself. When we start working with this, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that will definitely take us to the next level. I believe as we get ready to move into 2026, there is no greater time, ladies and gentlemen, than the present. No greater time than the present. And I believe that it's imperative that we start moving in this direction and utilize these things. I've always thanked a lot of you for tuning in every week, same place, same time. But what good is it to listen to these teachings if you haven't applied it to your life? It's the application of knowledge and wisdom that will give you the ability to change the trajectory of your life. Vision is the blueprint of creation. Nothing is built until it is imagined. Ladies and gentlemen, the phone that you're holding right now was an imagination in somebody's mind. The chair that you're sitting on right now, it was an imagination in somebody's mind. That bed that you sleep on every night, it was an image. It was in somebody's imagination. The house you live in, it was an image in somebody's imagination. The clothes that you wear, they were an image in somebody's imagination. Architects draw it, artists paint it, and spirit imagines it. Your inner eye is the draftsman of destiny. The clearer the drawing, the stronger the manifestation. Every day, give your imagination something noble to do. Picture your life as you want it, not as it was. Use every sense. Hear the laughter, smell the success, taste the freedom, feel the sunlight of fulfillment. The subconscious speaks in sensory language. The more detailed your picture, the faster it takes shape. You know, these are some of the things that we discussed when we dealt with the vision board mastery. I gave you guys 8 keys on how to turn your vision board into your physical reality. This is also in the archives. You may want to go listen to it on the YouTube channel. But the more detail-oriented you can be about this thing that you have in your subconscious mind, it is something that's very important. I love this. And the reason why I love teaching about the subconscious mind is, real quick, there's a man named Jose Silva, and he created something called the spiritual mind. I guess it's called the spiritual mind treatment. Not spiritual mind treatment. What was it called? I can't think of his program that he has, but I took it. What Jose Silva noticed is that as we are awake right now, we're at the we're at the alpha level of mind. We are awake. We're just functioning as awake. When you go to sleep, your mind, your brain waves go to the delta level of mind. And at that level, you're almost at like a psychic level when you're sleep and your brain waves go to the delta level of mind. Anyway, Jose Silva, he was able to find a way to shift his mind, even though he was awake, from the alpha level all the way to the delta level while still being awake. And when he shifted his brain waves to the delta level, what happened was he began to operate in a psychic sensory seership capacity. And he was able to teach his kids to the point where when he called his kids, they already answered him before he could say anything, because they knew when he was going to ask, because they were already in the delta level of mind. And so what Jose Silva also did was he said to himself, wait a minute, if I can get into the delta level of mind and I can get into this psychic seership capacity, maybe I can peek into tomorrow and see what tomorrow was going to be like. So he would go into the newspaper for the next day and get the lotto numbers, and he would actually win. This is a true story. You can Google it. And he came up with the Silver Mind program. They have it today. You can take the program. I'm telling you, it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's like 2 to 3 days. It's like a 2 to 3 day workshop. It's phenomenal. I've taken it, and it's phenomenal. But I'm saying that to show you the power of the subconscious mind. And when we talk about reprogram the subconscious mind and the theater of the imagination, they have all kind of techniques and stuff that they use. So I'm just offering that information to you, but you can definitely check it out on your own time. Vision is not fantasy. Fantasy is a wish without the work. Vision is faith with focus. When you combine the imagination with intention, you form the master key of manifestation. The image held without unwavering, with the image that you hold without wavering must be externalized. It's not optional, it's law. The law of frequency demands that your outer life harmonize with your dominant inner vibration. So guard your vault. Don't let the thieves of doubt or the robbers of resentment break in. Every time you criticize yourself, you vandalize your vision. Every time you affirm possibility, you polish the gold bars of potential. You are the custodian of divine blueprints. Keep them clean, keep them sacred, keep them active, because vision, once impregnated with belief, cannot remain imaginary. It must become your physical reality. To withdraw from the bank within is not to beg, it is to claim. You don't plead with the teller. You present your credentials. Faith is your identification card. Mental alchemy is the process of turning invisible substance into visible form. The base metal of thought becomes the gold of manifestation when fired in the furnace of feeling. When you imagine, you plant. When you feel, you water. When you believe, you harvest. The mind has 2 vault doors, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious chooses the image. The subconscious multiplies it. That's why idle daydreaming can create unwanted results. It's still planting seeds. Choose your crops wisely. I withdraw this divine idea now. It manifests through right channels in perfect time under grace. Remember, the imagination is not make-believe. it's make real. Every withdrawal leaves your account richer, not poorer, because divine substance is inexhaustible. Creation does not deplete, it duplicates. The more you use your imagination, the stronger it becomes. The more you trust it, the faster it yields. Use it daily until the imagination becomes instinct and the manifestation becomes memory. Jose Silva, um, in his course, he has a really good program where they use these techniques of reprogramming the subconscious mind. I could tell you some great stories about me being there. One of the things that they do is they really try to get you to focus the subconscious mind to see images. For instance, one of the things that they made us do when I was there is they made us imagine ourselves as a flower, not looking at a flower, but imagine ourselves as a flower. And they would say to us, how does it feel that the wind is blowing through your lapels, or how does it feel that the bees are crawling on you? How does it feel, when the water is, you're being watered and you can feel the water going to the roots? I mean, those are the kind of things that they wanted you to feel, because they wanted you to get a realness of how real your imagination could be in really bringing these images to life. They also had us go into our house. Everybody knows what their house looks like, and they had us walk through the door. What do you see on the left side? What do you see on the right side? Because you're training your subconscious mind to see pictures. You're training your subconscious mind to see images. And the more you work this, and so to be honest with you, I was, when I went, I was a little frustrated because I really wanted this thing to work, and for whatever reason, I couldn't see anything. It didn't work for me. Very upset. I think I told the story once again before. I went to the instructor and voiced my, my concern that I was very upset about not being able to get what everybody else got. And so there was a lady there. She came to me. She says, you know what? I see your frustration, and we're going to work together. The lady who was the instructor, she says, hey, if tomorrow's the last day, come back tomorrow. And if you don't get what you need to get by tomorrow, I'll definitely give you a 100% guaranteed refund, So I go to the last day, and in the last day, what we're doing is we're partnering off with everybody. And so, they will say, okay, Issachar and Julie are going to be together. And so when me and Julie will go off to our own section and we will sit down, what we were supposed to do is go to the delta level of mind, because this delta level, as I'm telling you, is where you're really at a place where the subconscious mind is really being activated. And usually it's like that when you sleep. But we now know that we can access this while we're still awake. And so while me and Julie were partnering with each other, what they wanted us to do was call out somebody that we knew name and see what would happen. And so Julie calls out a man's name. And as soon as she calls out the man's name, boom, I just seen the image of this man come before me. I started to describe to Julie what I was seeing. And Julie says, oh, my God, that's my father. You're describing him to a T, this and that. So, I now call out a name to Julie, and she describes to me what she sees. But the gist of the exercise is that for you to stimulate the motion here that you are in the delta level of mind. You are now in the place where you're activating your subconscious mind, and now you're showing your subconscious mind how to maneuver and how to operate with pictures, and how can we also peek into the future or peek into the past, right? And so we switched again. Another man comes to me and he calls out a name. I see a baby laying in the hospital with tubes all over him, and the baby has a rash on his face. When I describe that to the man says, "Oh my God, you are the only person in here that was able to tell me that my baby had a rash on his face." You know, but that's how intricate you want your subconscious mind to be. And so I'm saying that to say this to you all, that, you know, we're in a position now where we have access to that power. So when you're done, just Google Jose Silva. And I think how he's spelling silver is Silva, Jose Silva. And it's a mind, Jose Silva mind program. And you'll be able to really start working with that. Now, they have practitioners all over the country. They have certain parts of the year where they hold these seminars that you can go to. But then they also have personal practitioners that you can work with one-on-one. So definitely, I would recommend that you guys go and definitely look into that. Faith and emotion are compound interest on the investments of thoughts. When you feel gratitude before the harvest, you accelerate growth. When you radiate joy in advance, you multiply returns. Emotion is energy in motion. Emotion and motion multiply. Emotion is energy in motion. So understand that when you start to work with your emotion and you continue to work with the motion, it's now going to multiply. Doubt, however, is an emotional debit. It occurs quickly and drains spiritual accounts. Anxiety is the overdraft. Fear is foreclosure. Guard your emotional spending. Pay yourself in peace every morning. Deposit peace instead of complaining. Make sure you deposit peace. There is a secret principle I call the law of relaxed expectation. When you know your deposit is safe, you stop checking the account every minute. You rest, confident that the law is working. The farmer doesn't dig up his seeds to see if they're sprouting. He trusts the soil. Likewise, trust the soil of your imagination. Faith is the quiet confidence that everything you have pictured already exists in the unseen. Emotion gives life, but rest gives permission to arise. The highest vibration of wealth is gratitude. The highest vibration of wealth is gratitude. Gratitude turns every mental penny into spiritual gold. Each thank you is a magnet that pulls miracles from the invisible into the visible. There comes a point when you stop trying to get and start learning to be. That's very important, ladies and gentlemen. That's very important. When you stop trying to get, you just be who you are. You just become who you want to become. And And that's what I love about this now. We watch social media and we see people on social media pretending to be people who they are not. And they go all the way out. They do all the clothing, the hair, they do everything they can to make people think that they are who they say they are. But I want you to know you can do the same thing, but in real life, you can be whoever you want to be. The infinite treasury within you is not separate from who you are. It is who you are. The infinite treasury within is who you are. When you live as imagination personified, you walk in perpetual supply. You cease asking, where will it come from? And begin declaring, it comes through me. See, when I talked about the woman earlier who wants to have the $100,000 a month job, $100,000 a year job, and she wants to, but she's working a 9 to 5. She's hourly. She's a regular employee. None of the managers, none of the higher ups make 6 figures. So she's saying to herself, how am I going to make 6 figures working at this job? But if this same lady that we're talking about, if she goes into the subconscious mind and begins to work these precepts and these golden nuggets that we've given today, and she starts to download and starts to deposit these images of her making 6 figures, she doesn't have to worry about how she's going to make 6 figures. All she has to worry about is seeing herself making 6 figures. How does it feel to make 6 figures? How would you act if you make 6 figures? How does it feel to have that money coming in, right? When she does that and she continues to do it and she continues to work with her feelings and her emotions and she begins to work this thing for real, what happens is in her physical reality, events will take place that will allow her to make 6 figures. Whether somebody comes to her and says, hey, there's an opportunity. Hey, I know you're not qualified. I know that, you don't have all your schooling, all the degrees, but for whatever reason, this opportunity is coming to you. There's an opportunity for you to make 6 figures, or there's an opportunity for you to be part of this company, and, I would like for you to work, and I'd like for you to do this and X amount of, who knows how it's going to happen. The thing about it is she was the one that created it because she went into the bank of her imagination. The imagination was her bank. And she was able to create the images, the feeling, the emotion. And doing that, now, remember, everything that happens within, the reception of that happens on the outside. We're all walking mirrors. To live as a steward of infinite imagination, begin each day depositing vision. Guard your inner speech. Rehearse abundance, not adversity. Circulate good, give ideas, share encouragement, lend love. Circulation keeps the current flowing. Stagnation stops the stream. Wealth is not what you have, it's what you express. Expression is expansion, and expansion is prosperity. And just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, expansion, the word expansion is always connected to the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance. It is the planet of prosperity. It is the planet of expansion. Yes, when you start operating in these things, I wish I could go deeper here. You start understanding how everything in the universe connects. Open your awareness. Feel the vault doors swing wide. Hear the echo of divine affirmation saying, all that I have is thine. The bank of imagination never closes, never declines a withdrawal, never charges a fee for faith. You are the authorized signer on the account of infinity. Spend lavishly in love. Invest boldly in vision. Save nothing but wisdom. When we start operating at this, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I love this kind of stuff. This is amazing to me. This motivates me. It inspires me. I know it has to inspire you. When you walk away from listening to something like this today, how could you not be on fire, walking away feeling like there's nothing that's impossible? How could you listen to teaching like this and not walk away feeling that there's nothing that I can't conquer? There's nothing that I can't do. When you listen to powerful teaching like this, it's impossible for you not to be able to expand. Once the mind expands, it can never go back to its original form. You begin to start to speak to yourself like this. My imagination is the divine bank of endless supply. I withdraw ideas of prosperity with effortless faith. Every mental image I sustain becomes tangible goods. I am the authorized agent of an infinite mind. Thought is my currency and love is my wealth. I deposit gratitude and receive multiplied joy. The universe honors every picture I hold in belief. I spend imagination wisely and reap abundance easily. Faith approves my transactions I make. I rest in the security of divine order. My vote of consciousness overflows with creative ideas. The more I give, the greater my balance becomes. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody that's listening to me right now and says, I have a money problem, I need more money, I don't think you have a money problem. I think you have an idea problem. You need more ideas. Money chases ideas. Ideas are money magnets. They're money magnets. And so the more ideas you have, the more money will magnetize to those ideas. But guess what? You get those ideas by tapping into the subconscious, getting in the theater of your subconscious. Have a seat, relax, enjoy, and begin to work on downloading those pictures of seeing yourself being, doing, and having all that you desire. All that you desire, everything that you see yourself being, doing, and having. Yes, you got to get out there and make it happen. You got to get out there. You got to work smart, not hard. Now, the lady we're talking about, she could have went and got another job and 2 jobs and try to get all these jobs so she could make $100,000 a year, or she could have worked smart and just went into the subconscious mind and begin to work it that way and begin to create it so that now on the physical realm, opportunities will present themselves to her to make the $100,000 a year. Some of you want a new car, and you're saying to yourself, well, at this rate, the job that I have, the bills that I have, there's no way that I can afford the car that I want to have. But guess what? Nobody asked you, could you afford it? You don't realize the power. Once again, the imagination is your bank. If you go into your imagination and you begin in the theater of your mind, and you begin to see yourself driving this car. You see yourself opening the door, the new car smell. See yourself feeling the car key. See yourself taking it on a drive, test drive. But see yourself driving it every day, driving it to work, coming home. See yourself picking up your kids, taking people out. And the more you work with this thing and you start working with this thing, what happens now is opportunities will present themselves for you to get the car. Why? Because in your subconscious mind, you already got the car. And if you got it in the subconscious and you got it through the imagination, it's the law, as within, so without. So if you got the car within, the universe has to now make sure that you have it on the outside as well. And it doesn't matter how that's going to happen. But the opportunities will present themselves to make it efficient. Ladies and gentlemen, this works if you work it. The great Johnny Coleman would say, it works if you work it. And so I think that this teacher was profound today. I think it was inspiring. I think it was motivating, insightful. And I think you guys need to take abreast of this and really begin to work these principles. If you listen to today's teaching and you felt that it was great, and you know loved ones, family members, co-workers, anybody that you know that would benefit from listening to this, go ahead and hit the share button, copy the link, text it to them, email it to them. Let them know that we're here every week, same place, same time. Let them listen to that and get involved in applying this knowledge to their life. If you also said, you know what, Issachar, man, you've been dropping a lot of wisdom. You've been dropping a lot of knowledge. We appreciate you feeding us. We appreciate you helping us to expand. And we want to be a blessing to the Temple of Enlightenment. And those of you that want to sow, want to donate to our organization, to our ministry, there are a few ways that you can give. The first way is going to be Cash App, which is going to be $TOESC. That's $TOESC, which is also going to be in the bottom of the description, the ways that you can give. The second way that you can give is going to be PayPal and Zelle. So PayPal and Zelle are other ways that you can give, and that's going to be connected to our email, which is info, INFO, at TOESC.org. That's INFO at TOESC.org. And that's the way that you can give by Zelle or PayPal. And then the next way that we have to give is Venmo. Those of you that use Venmo, you can email us. You can give Venmo. Our email is Issachar Bey at gmail.com. That's ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. And those are the ways that you can give. We are forever grateful. No donation is too small. No donation is too big. If you want to write a check or a money order out, you can make it out to the Temple of Enlightenment. And you can also get our address, which is in the bottom of the description, and you can send it in. Ladies and gentlemen, good teaching like this will expand your consciousness. Good teaching like this will enlighten you, will open up your eyes, open up your ears, and set you in a place that you can no longer go backwards anymore. You can no longer go to the left or to the right, but you can only move forward and operate in future. And so we are forever grateful. Once again, I'm ecstatic about your future. I'm excited about what's coming, and we're getting ready for 2026. I'm looking for this to be a big year, and we are excited. So listen, stay connected, hit the like button, subscribe, stay connected with us. I want you to know, and I believe that your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.